Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and I am a hot messy mama. I've got a ton of new makeup to play with today. So much that it's overflowing. All sorts of stuff. If you want to see me trying out all these new products, please keep watching. First, I got the new Olaplex dry shampoo. I love the Living Proof Advanced Clean dry shampoo. That's been my go-to. They're about the same price, right in the $30 range. This one is a little different. I like it quite a bit. Absorbs oil, volumizes, refreshes, detoxifies. Does not have a heavy scent. It does have a slight scent, but it's not heavy and it doesn't linger. It doesn't give a ton of white cast. Even when you go a little bit ham, it doesn't give white cast. You can hear how intense that spray is. I just, you know, kind of massage it in, get rid of some of the extra oil, and I love it. I've been using it. If you don't like typical dry shampoos, give this one a try. It really gives body and makes your scalp feel clean. So I really like that. That was just kind of a bonus review at the beginning. I am gonna put on, okay, first, Vive, Jamie Genevieve, my hero and spirit animal. They came out with an XL size of the Skin Nova, which is the primer I always use. So this is the original. Here's the size difference. The nice thing is the pump is still, it's slightly taller, but it's still the same size pump. So you still get a very controlled amount of product, but you can see I use it quite a bit. This is like my third or fourth of the small tube. So I went ahead and got the Big Daddy, and she uses it on the body as well. So I'm just gonna take 2 squirts of that. Actually, I'm gonna leave this sitting on my hand for a second because I forgot. One of the other products I got was this Beauty Bio Eyeliner Concentrate. And I saw Marlena Stell using this in one of her recent videos. She used this in the beginning of that video. You just push down right here. This is the pump and it comes up right there. And it, like, her under eyes transformed in front of my eyes while I was watching. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm about her age, probably a little older than her, I think. I need that. So it's got a really nice metal tip that's very cooling, but it's smaller than most. So you really can kind of get up in this corner and just push out all the fluid and puffiness, and it's cooling, and it has a really nice serum that brightens, helps with fine lines and wrinkles. It's got some really nice ingredients, and it was on sale. They sell it at Ulta. Pick some up on the brow bone. But yeah, I don't know if you can tell the difference from the before, but it's, I've been enjoying this quite a bit. It's already up in my everyday. A little bit about it. It's smoothing, brightening serum, and depuffing tool, and I'm happy to have it. Okay, now I'm gonna take my Skin Nova. It's not an illuminating, super glowy highlighter primer, but it does have radiance and some illumination, and it just makes the skin look beautiful, and it's super hydrating. Enough about that. I talk about it all the time. I've got a new foundation. I have the Laura Mercier. This is the Real Flawless Weightless Perfecting Foundation. I bought it online, so it's a tiny bit peachy. What is this? 2W2 warm linen. I have a sponge, but I have brushes as well. Maybe we'll do half and half. Let's start with just that 2 pumps. It's pretty runny. You can see it running down the back of my hand there. So I'm gonna take a couple dots. A weightless foundation that blurs the line between makeup and skin with medium buildable coverage, waterproof wear, up to 12 hours of fade proof wear. Pick some up on my ear. The color's not bad. That looks pretty nice. All right, and again, I'm gonna use a sponge. It's supposed to be cake-free, 3D smooth, priming powders, perfecting. I definitely like it better with a brush so far. I feel like I can see a lot more pores and texture over here, where on this side, I can see a little bit right here, but it seems a lot smoother. It's not bad. It's not as much coverage as I would like. I think I'm gonna add another layer to get a little bit more coverage and a little bit more even skin tone. Kind of build it up where I've got the most skin discoloration, trying to keep the coverage. That's not bad. It doesn't feel like I've got a ton of makeup on. See how it wears, but I like it. This is not a new concealer, but it is newly available in a mini size. This is the KOSAS Revealer Concealer. This is the shade 03W. This is actually darker than I normally get. I'm gonna start with that. I'm just gonna blend it out with the same sponge I've been using. This is from Ulta. It came in a set of 2 with this other orange, more traditional beauty blender shape. And then this one it's very squishy in a nice way. That blends really nicely with that foundation too. I want a little bit more brightening under my eyes, so I am gonna use the Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener. Just right here on the tip of my nose and up here where I would highlight. This is the light medium shade. And same thing, just dabbing it out. This does not have much coverage, the Rare Beauty. I've got a bunch of new contour and bronzer products. I picked up the Laura Mercier new Tinted Moisturizer Bronzer, as well as the Milk contour shades in their cream sticks. I do, of course, have the Baked Bronzer from Milk. That's one of my all-time favorite cream bronzers. I've used it for years, so I'm excited to try the contour shade. And then, of course, I'm gonna use the Laura Mercier more for bronzing. This is the shade Stoked. I believe it's the second deepest shade in the contour. And while I'm at it, let's go ahead and swatch the Laura Mercier so we can see them next to each other. Oh, this is 03 Sunbeam. This comes in a tube like this, very similar to the blushes in this same line. So there's the bronzer, there's the contour, definitely more cool tone over here on the contours. Sculpt Stick. Get rid of some of this massive forehead, and if it's anything like Baked Bronzer Stick, it will be very easy to blend. Oh yeah, did you see how quickly that blended out? Oh yeah, that's beautiful. I've seen the Tower 28. I did not get it. I have a bajillion other things here to try out. There's no shortage of reviews on them, so I have to draw the line somewhere. I am a single mom and very cognizant of what I'm spending my money on. I definitely overspend on makeup. I would never pretend that I don't, but it's my thing, you know? So take a little bit of that up here. That's really lovely. That contour is absolutely beautiful. It's a great color. A bit of that down. Ooh, I quite like that. I quite like that. That's definitely going into heavy rotation. This dried already, and in the reviews I read on Sephora, that was the biggest complaint, that it's hard to work with because it does dry so fast. So bearing that in mind, I'm gonna do one area at a time. I do think I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna put some on the back of my hand and maybe put a couple dots on my face, get some on the brush. It's not super pigmented, so I don't think you would cause a big mess. Use it wisely. But I guess it's not super beginner friendly. You can see the difference. Doesn't give any coverage, just very much like the Mario, adds warmth and still lets your skin shine through. Very similar to that product. I think I do prefer the cream format of the Mario, which is just easier to work with. That is foolproof. So it may have lifted a tiny bit of the foundation underneath here. I'm not sure that that's what I'm seeing. Again, I've got so much skin discoloration. Sometimes it's hard to tell what's my skin and what's patchiness. Like the different spots of my sun damage have different texture. So like right here, I've got a spot that is lighter and it's got almost a reflective sheen to it. Texture of the skin is more slick, if you will, than the rest of my skin. So it sometimes look like coverage is coming off when it's not so much the product's failure in performance, it's my skin is very difficult to keep product adhered to it. I hope that makes sense, but that's pretty. Let's put a little bit on my forehead, get some warmth up here, and just work in small sections. I think the fact that it dries down is an asset. Now that we spent 100 hours, I've got a ton of new blushes. The Vive, these are fantastic. They might be the best liquid blush formula out there, maybe even the best blush formula, period. They're absolutely stunning, easy to use. I'm not going to use that though because I already have that in a ton of videos. I also got from Omicole, this is the Desert Date. It's a multi-stick. I got the shade Spice and I got Dune. Spice again is the rich kind of wine berry, and then Dune is this more neutral with a hint of rose. Oh yeah, they blend out very easily. Those are pretty. Kulfi, their cream blushes are long lasting. I have the shade Pinky Promise and Sandalwood Swirl. Sandalwood Swirl. And there's Pinky Promise. I got a lot more of Pinky Promise than I did Sandalwood Swirl, so that's why there's so much there. I've got those four. Oh, my local store had the new shade of the Cheek Clapper formula from Patrick Starr's One Size brand. So you've got your cream up here under your top flap, and then a matte and a shimmery version. So this is the cream, this is the matte, obviously, and then there's the shimmer. Cream, matte, shimmer. Very similar to the Dior Rosy Glow. So similar. And then, my goodness, this video is gonna be a million years. Maybe I'll separate out all these new blushes that I'm playing with. And then the Haus Labs. This packaging, look at this. It's not covered in all my fingerprints yet. And that's the shade Pomelo Peach Dragon Fruit Days. Check that out. Woo. Next Haus Labs color is Watermelon Bliss. And this is, as with most of the Haus Labs products, they are very pigmented, but also can be sheared out, so you don't automatically get stuck. But they work for multiple skin tones that way. Look at that beautiful color. So we've got our three Haus Labs shades, Pomelo Peach, Dragon Fruit Days, and Watermelon Bliss. Spice from Omicole and Sandalwood Swirl are pretty similar. So I'm gonna use one of each of those on either side. The Haus Labs powder in Dragon Fruit Days on this side, and then the One Size powder on this side. So then we get to use almost all of these formulas. So I'm gonna start with Sandalwood Swirl, just put a tiny bit on the back of my hand here, And, oh, can I get the lid? That's my biggest problem with tubes that have lids like this. I have dexterity issues from neuropathy, and it can be difficult. Look how nicely that blends out. This formula is truly gorgeous. All right, so now let's go in with Spice from Untitled in the multi-stick on the other side, and that's the shade there. And this I'm gonna take directly onto the brush and see how that works. That blends out nicely. That's really pretty, but now I need more intensity over here. So, quite have enough pigment the first time, but it does blend out really beautifully. I mean, it's so long wearing. There's a little more radiance in the multi-stick. The Kulfi Mendy Moment are these cream blushes. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that before. They are the Mendy Moment. We've got our cream bases. Let's go in with some powder. I'm gonna put the one size in Attention Seeker. I'm gonna put that over here. This is the blush brush from the Ariel set he did with Morphe. And I'm just using the matte shade in the middle here. And that's really pretty. That's so pretty. What a pretty combination. Again, one size Attention Seeker. Now we are going in with the shade that again is almost identical, and that is Dragon Fruit Days in the Haus Labs blushes, the Color Fuse blush. Whew, look at all that pigment. I'm gonna tap. Whenever I have a very pigmented blush, I like to go in with a very fluffy brush like this. I think they're perfect. You can build up if you need to the pigment, but you don't go from 0 to clown cheeks right away. I don't think they look drastically different other than more radiance over here for sure. Oh, I love blush. Take a little bit across my nose. Set my under eyes, Givenchy Prisma Libre. This is the shade 3, the rose one. I just take a little bit from the puff itself, and then I'll go in with a brush around under my eyes. This is the BK113, part of the core extension line, and just in the places where I lose coverage the most, kind of smooth out that line under here. I did also get from M Cosmetics their bronzer powder, the Corset Sculpting Bronzer, and this is the shade Silhouette. So I'm gonna take a BK111, also part of the core extension, and just, this is pretty pigmented, so I'm just gonna very lightly, my very outer, this is not the lightest shade. There is a lighter shade, which is good because this is pretty pigmented and pretty deep. So up here in the temple and just a little beneath my blush, which just what's left on the brush, kind of blend in this front area here. Now we can move on to eyes. I am gonna give a quick spritz of the Caudalie Beauty Elixir. Let's do a quick zoom in and see how everything's looking. Everything's blended together pretty well. The foundation looks great. Under eyes look good, look pretty smooth. I think we're looking pretty decent. All right, let's back out. Oh, highlight. I don't have a new highlight, but I did finally get Exhilarate back. That's the one I broke in the Rare Beauty highlight. I've got Enlighten and Mesmerize, and I set my notifications for when I'm crooked. I did set my notifications for when this would come back in stock because it's been consistently sold out. And the first time I bought it in store and then they, I guess, sold out. The second time I bought the wrong shade. I bought Enlighten again because I was in such a hurry to get it ordered before it sold out. So finally, 3 times later, I was very thankful somebody, I have no idea who, there was a return address label, but I didn't know who the person was, but somebody in Michigan sent to my office, not to my home. I would have been honestly a little creeped out if they sent something to my home. But they sent something to my office, which was very kindly a replacement of this. It was also the wrong shade. It was Enlighten, which was not the shade that was broken. But I was shocked when it just randomly showed up. There was no note or anything. Just a very well packaged Rare Beauty highlighter, brand new in the box. Like, I couldn't believe somebody took the time and money to send that to me when mine broke. So whoever you are out there, thank you very much. That was really very kind of you to do that. And thank you for sending it to my office and not my home where my child lives. I appreciate that. I have new eyeshadow palettes as well. I've got all 3 of the new Odin's Eye influencer collabs. Honestly, Lauren May is the only one I really know. And all 3 of these palettes are stunning, but I think I'm going to do a dedicated video to them. But those shades are beautiful. That's the Sea Talk palette done by Lauren May. And then there is the Betty Jane Planet Spirit palette, which is super colorful and beautiful. The Flora Story palette is Odin's Eye and Makeup Just for Fun. So I've heard of their channels. I really appreciate that Odin's Eye collaborates with smaller influencers. Gives us, with, you know, 150 subscribers, some hope. But those are beautiful color stories, but they really deserve their own dedicated video. I also got the new Pat McGrath Love Collection. I got 3 shades of the liquid shimmer. 2 of them I got in a set that was a deal, and then 1 of them I got by itself. And then I got 2 of the palettes. I got the rosy one, which was just beautiful. The tones in here are stunning. And it's got 3 mattes and 3 shimmers. And then I got the all matte. It is a nice formula, but the shades of these mattes are perfect there. So there's those 6 matte shades from the Pat McGrath. Look at that formula. It's stunning. Aren't the best swatches, but this is the Iconic Infatuation. Those go together. The matte palette is called Velvet Liaison. I'm gonna obviously start with the matte. I don't have any new brow products, so I'm gonna go off camera, do my brows, and then we'll be back and play with all this fun eyeshadow. Okay, I'm back. Brows are done. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of the Dominique Cosmetics eye primer to kind of blank out. I'm just gonna take the brush that I used to set my concealer. Let's go in. Again, this is Velvet Liaison, and this is the all matte palette. I forgot to mention, I did also get the Tower 28 multi pencils. You're supposed to be able to use them on your eyes, your lips, your cheeks. I got the shade Draw Me. It's a nice formula. I'm gonna put a little bit just out here, gently diffuse that. They do seem to blend out pretty easily. This is a pretty flimsy brush. Still blended that out really easily. Yeah, I like that. That gives just a little bit of depth to start with. That would make a really easy smoky wing. Okay, so that's the Tower 28. Now, back to Mothership Velvet Liaison. I am going to start with Rephr number 1 brush, and I'm gonna go into this shade right here. Bring that over that eyeliner. That's nice. Not that I expected any less from Mother Pat. Bringing kind of a V shape like this. Just gonna go in again with that same shade and now more of padding, and this is gonna add a little more depth and a little more pigment. And then very gently, I'm hardly touching my skin, blending out that edge a little bit. See how it just creates more depth in my crease than on this side over here? Let's do the same thing over here. Just pushing it in that crease. And then same thing, just barely touching my skin. Because I do have a deep crease here, I do like to bring the color up on this portion of my transition. Some of that same shade on the lower lash line, keeping it towards the outer half. Now I'm going to go in with the shade right above it, this deeper, more mustardy brown, right on the outer portion here. Just stamping it down first. And then I'm gonna go in with a clean, bigger, fluffier brush to diffuse. I am, again, not a trained makeup artist. I really hope people can see from watching my videos that anybody can do makeup. It can be intimidating, but just watch videos, practice crazier things at the end of the day, right before you're gonna take off your makeup. If you want to start wearing a wing liner and you're not very good at it, practice before you take off your makeup at the end of the day. And that way it doesn't matter if it looks like garbage because you're taking it off anyway. If it doesn't and it looks really good, take a couple pictures, post them. I'm gonna take the same Tower 28 under my eye here and give a little more depth in the outer corner. I'm taking it on my waterline a little bit as well. I'm gonna take a more dense brush than the first one I used. This one is a Rephr 13. Basically where my eyelashes come out. Okay, I like how that looks. I'm gonna bring that back, what's left on that brush, up here and deepen that a little more up here. I do like that you've got a little bit of play time before it dries down completely. Nice pencil. It's nice on the lips too, for very much the same reason. It blends in, or you can blend it out, I mean, but then it dries down and stays. Kind of similar to the Wayne Goss and the Victoria Beckham formulas. I like that. Okay, now let's go in with one of these. Maybe we'll use both. Maybe we'll use the lighter pink on the inner corner. I think the bronzy shade on the outer corner. On the outer, like, third, if you will. And then I'm just blending it out. I would probably compare it most closely to the Lisa Eldridge Liquid Lurex and see how easily they blend out. Kind of diffuse it more in the middle because that's where I want it to blend in with the lighter shade. Right, so this one we're gonna take in the front half. I do like this formula, like the Tower 28. You've got a little bit of time to work, but then they dry down. The Angie Hot and Flashy, this is the BK505, and I am going to pat, pat the pat. That was silly, that was a dad joke. I want them to blend together right there without an obvious harsh line. And I think they do. All right, let's check out this side. That's the eye look. I'm gonna tight line my LA Girl Ultimate. The Can't Stop Staring from Give by Gwen Stefani is my absolute favorite mascara right now. It is very similar to the Making Waves or Make Waves from Tower 28. Does have the super phallic bulbous point on the end, but it's a beautiful formula. Does not take very long to build up big, fluffy, long, flirty lashes. And the really nice thing about it is you can build on it later. Like if you put on your mascara in the morning before work, but then you're going out, you can add another coat to boost them up without making a sticky, spidery, stuck together mess. It's really, really a nice formula. Okay, I like this look. I am gonna go back in with a little bit more of the Exhilarate Rare Beauty highlight on my inner corner and under my brow bone. Okay, let's go in with, I almost used the Olaplex as setting spray. That's not setting spray. I'm gonna use a little bit of the moisturizing hydrate mist from Youth to the People, and I've got a smidge of my professional. Okay, last but not least, for the lips, I have a bunch of new lip items. I've got the new Lawless Forget the Filler Balm. This is in the shade Georgie, which was my aunt who died at a pretty young age. She was actually only a year or two older than I am now. It was really a bonus that the color that matched her name was perfect. This is really a comfortable formula. It's got a nice, mildly fruity flavor. It's a lightly tinted balm. It's nothing to write home about. It's pretty. I've not tried any of the other colors, so I can't compare, but I like it for just an in the purse kind of grab and go, no mirror. I wanted to show you that. Again, that's the shade Georgie. Next, Sephora came out with some fantastic matte lightly tinted balms. The chocolate shade, and it's a beautiful brown. They can build up. I've got the tan shade, soft sienna, pink fuchsia. Again, they're great purse. Throw it in. If you wear this with a lip liner, you could even have more of a prominent lip. It's a really, really comfortable formula. It's pretty similar, actually, to the Lawless, forget the filler, only that one has a little bit more sheen. This one's a little bit more matte, but again, that's the shade Chocolate. It's got decent pigment, right? And again, it's comfortable, not really flavored or scented. So that's the Sephora. Lastly, LYS came out with a lipstick. This is the Speak Love Moisture Matte Lipstick. Triangular packaging as usual. This shade is called Moody. And look at this packaging. It's triangular. It's got sort of a soft touch leathery, come on, focus on that. There you go. Soft touch leathery light nude pink on 2 of the sides, and then the 3rd side has the rose gold shade name on the bottom, LYS right here. It's stunning packaging. I hope it's doing it justice. But it's a nice narrow point so you can really get, for reference, this is the Tower 28 pencil, which is like a normal pencil width. They're about the same. Very, very small and narrow. That was one swipe. That's so pretty. I'm gonna go ahead and use some of the Tower 28 liner, blend it out a little. I know it seems like a lot of work, but it's really a nice payoff. This Tower 28 pencil is fantastic. It works great on the eyes and great on the lips as well. Look at that one swipe. This formula is very comfortable. And I really love the small. I mean, yes, you get less product, but seriously, how often do you use a lipstick anyway? Unless it's like the only one you use. I'm gonna take that same lip brush. And doing this really helps the longevity of any lip. What a pretty, pretty comfortable formula. Let's do just a little bit of light buffing with a big brush. This has just a tiny bit of Hourglass ambient lighting powder left on it. I'm not adding any new, but I'm just gonna kind of go in and diffuse everything together for a more seamless look. I thank you so much for joining me to play with all this new makeup. I'm really, really pleased with this look and all the products we used today. I feel very vampy with my darker lip, hanging on to the last bits of winter. Yeah, I'm feeling very vampy and vampy. Anyway, thank you again for watching. Stay tuned. I have a ton of more video content to film, edit, lots of shorts with swatches. So please subscribe if you have not already. Like, share, all the things, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.